if you are a fan of Andy Weir's novel Project Hail Mary, then you are going to love set 11389, the Hail Mary, just recently released by the Lego Group. Hey everyone, Daniel Konstanski here, and full confession up front, Project Hail Mary is one of my favorite books of all time. I read it, loved it, have reread it multiple times, and absolutely cannot wait for the movie. Taking my whole family, we're all wearing flight suits, got Project Hail Mary patches. I am a true fan. And so wanted to do a deep dive on this set to kind of go over if it really lives up to the expectations of those of us who absolutely love this source material. And I am very pleased to say that the designer has done an outstanding job. Got a chance to interview him, and it really is awesome to see what he has been able to pull off here. And there are some really fun kind of deep dive, hidden deep cuts, if you will, in terms of this set. So wanted to kind of go over those now that I've had a chance to put this set together and spot them all. So some of the more obvious ones, right? If we just start right off the bat, is of course the characters, right? This is the heart and soul of this book, is the relationship between Ryland Grace, who is going to be played by Ryan Gosling in the film, and my boy, my prince, my king here, Rocky, the alien that he meets out in space, as they are both trying to save their respective stars from the scourge of astrophage, which is the life form, of course, that is causing their stars to dim. And just an absolutely fantastic rendition of these two characters. So first, we'll start with Ryland here, who is, of course, in his Orland EVA suit, the Russian-made space suit, as chosen by Eva Stratt in the books. And it's just some amazingly detailed printing. Got his wrench there on the back, and then, of course, he's holding two very important props from the story. The light, of course, that he uses in the tunnel, because Rocky, does not see in the traditional sense with eyes, seeing light. And then we've also got, and I'm not sure if it was intentional or if it's just an extra piece because it's so small, but I'm so glad that it worked out. There are two of these little tape measure pieces, which is great because Rocky can then also hold one, which, as everyone who knows the story knows, he loves to play with in the story. So, but real quick, finishing up with Ryland. So the Orland EVA suit is double printed, so it's printed on the front and the back, which is really nice. You got to pull all this off. This is just standard recolors of some jetpack pieces and other things, and a helmet from other space and town sets. I'm sorry, city sets. But just a really nice reuse of them here. And of course, Ryland has a dual printed head. Got the glasses on one side, and then a little more of kind of the classic Ryland Gosling face here on the front. So just a very, very great rendition of this character as he's described in the book. And then, of course, Rocky, who is my favorite character in the book. Not that you have that many to choose from, but still. So just a great rendition of him. I love that they used different pieces for the arms, which is just great because Rocky is described as, not being entirely symmetrical, kind of a very rough, organic shape. The printing on his carapace. And then he's got two other little accessories here. So the first one is his little controller, the little viewer that has the raised sections that kind of turn light and visible light into texture, because he sees with sound in the story. And then this other item here is his controller that he uses throughout to control some of his various constructs and things. Really well-made figure. They did a great job here of using a steering wheel element to kind of be able to distribute his arms evenly. And they give us a printed piece for his carapace, which is awesome. So, yeah. And then another really, really cool feature, again, that those of us who love this story will appreciate, is they gave us the Xenonite wall from their first meeting, first contact in the tunnel. And you can see that there's all these different jagged pieces, and then the one clear section right there in the middle, which is, of course, the xenonite that Ryland can see through. So, and if content like this interests you, if you want to know about the latest news about new releases and new Lego sets, be sure to subscribe to the Blocks newsletter, which you can do at blocksmag.com. And so another really awesome thing about this set is that you're able to recreate that first contact moment. So these little bases pop off. You got to flip Ryland around. Of course, Rocky can see on all sides, so it doesn't matter which way he's facing. But you can kind of make this little vignette, which is a great little submodel that, again, recreates that iconic and beloved moment from the story where our two main characters meet. So then let's now turn our attention to the Hail Mary itself. So obviously the ship is depicted here as in the film. So we've got the various fuel pods, which is very, very nicely done. Some printed parts, which again is a bit of a surprise in a set that's going to be so unique and obviously just a one shot like this, but they'll probably be reused somewhere else, maybe in Star Wars or something. But what I love about this is that there's just a lot of references packed in here. Obviously the ship itself, but then again, those of you who know and love the book, the source material, will know that the centrifuge mode, right? The orientation of the ship that allows gravity through a centrifuge rotation, which is very important for the lab equipment, is a very prominent part of the book and the story. So for those who've seen the previews, the movie hasn't come out as of the time I'm making this book, but they definitely appear to have changed how the centrifuge mode works. Maybe it's something for the visual, or I don't know all the reasons for it, but as opposed to cabling and kind of the nose of the ship separating, we instead have this compartment here in the middle that is going to separate. And I'm beginning to give you a little bit of a preview here of what's coming. But through an ingenious mechanism that's actually a triple function, the designer has made it so that if you rotate this, you can see it extends and then it rotates, right? So this is the crew compartment with the lab and everything. And then once it gets all the way out, right, then the whole ship spins like it's in centrifuge mode, which is just so cool. And it gets me every time. I've done this so many times since finishing this set, and it's just so awesome. And then another just really cool detail that I just absolutely love is I'm going to actually pop this off so you can see it here in the middle. But when the crew compartment resettles back in, it actually docks with another printed part that is made to look like an airlock or a hatch, which is how they would then get into the interior of the ship, into the mechanical section, which of course is going to be important for all the things that go wrong when the Talmiba gets loose in the fuel tanks. So just an amazing function though. And then if you turn it the other way, it of course reverses and goes right back to the way it was and docks right in there with the middle. It will spin the other way as well without doing anything. So if you just want it to spin, you can. But then also there's another cool detail here, which is that and this is both a beautiful meshing of form and function. So they needed to have this circular part to kind of give some support as this spins around, because it's fairly heavy, because it's a pretty intense mechanism. It's not complicated to build. It's fairly straightforward, but it's heavy. There's a lot of parts. So they needed something to kind of guide that rotation and make it so that it didn't wobble. So this is actually a single part all the way around this circle here, but they included it in green. And I spoke with the designer in an interview and confirmed this is absolutely a reference to Planet Adrian, and the green of it that's described in the book and that is featured beautifully in all the previews. I'm really excited to see that on screen. So that's just a really cool, opportunity that they took, right? This could have been any color. It could have been black. It could have been gray. But they included a circular green element as a shout out to Planet Adrian, which is just awesome. So, and then the other piece, again, just as a fan, that I'm really excited about is we've got this printed nameplate, that calls out the name and the destination, Tau Ceti, distance, mission length, all these things that are just important details in the book. And so it's just really cool as a fan to just, we've been serviced very well in this model by the designer. The fan service here is top notch, and just a really satisfying model. So as a fan, I can definitely say that if you loved Andy Weir's story, you will not be disappointed with this model. So I would highly, highly encourage you to pick it up. And also would encourage you to like and subscribe so that when we post content like this, you will be the first to know.